Hello class. I received an interesting question in the comments which was asking, hey Denzel, can you show a comparison where you've got velocity banking versus the debt snowball, or also known as the Dave Ramsey method to, paying off all your debts and securing wealth, right? So I was like, I thought you'd never ask. Okay. So I'm gonna just display a very simple example for us to really show you the practicality of doing velocity banking and how, doing the Dave Ramsey method can be quite a struggle. And he says it himself. It's not easy. And none of these strategies are easy because when they first come to you, they're different, it's foreign, right? And it's unfamiliar. So there's either which way you go, you're gonna get results, right? It's just a matter of how effective are the results and how fast can we get to the results that we want, okay? So let's do the numbers, right? Because that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers, man, not assumptions, predictions, hopes, and prayers, okay? Which are also good things, but you got to know the numbers. So here we have an example. Someone making $2,500 a month. Their expenses are $2,000. We're going to deal with one debt at a time. $10K, personal loan. All right. It's a 5-year term. That's 60 months. Monthly payment $212.42. The interest rate is 9.99. Okay. Amortized. Now, money left over is $500 for both scenarios, okay? We got one person's gonna do the Dave Ramsey method, and this person's gonna do velocity banking. All right? Now, what the Dave Ramsey method says to do, right? You gotta go through the baby steps, right? Baby step number 1 is you have to acquire an emergency fund, right? You have to save at least $1,000. All right, that's cool. So it should take you about 2 months to do that. If your cash flow is $500, it should take you about 2 months to save up $1,000, store it. Step 2 is pay your debts. All right. Now, if we did that, right, 2 months on the timeline, saved $1,000. Now we're going to tackle a debt, the personal loan debt. Now he says to throw everything in all cash left over towards that one specific debt, okay? And then you tackle the next debt and it'll snowball and yada yada, right? All right, so let's do it. Monthly payments $212, cash flow is $5, so that's a total payment each and every month of $712. So if you did the math, you do on a amortization schedule calculator, you put in the numbers, $10,000 at 9%, 9.99 interest at a 5-year term, five-year loan, and you plug in extra payments of $500 on top of the $212, so that's a total of $712. It will take you 1 year and 6 months to pay off that debt. Not bad compared to 5 years, right? 1 year and 6 months, okay? You would have saved $1,935.77 in interest, okay? And you've got your emergency fund still of $1,000, okay? That's if no rainy days happened, okay? Because we all know rainy days go down, right? That's why, Dave Ramsey talks about saving for a rainy day. Now, this $1,000, I don't know if that's gonna cover a rainy day, all right? Well, that's just my opinion. But let's say, rainy day occurs, at least you got something to pull from to be able to cover that, unexpected expense throughout this 1 year, 6 month period, okay? Now, let's go over to velocity banking side and let's see if there are any advantages, okay? So what velocity banking says to do is to acquire yourself a debt weapon, an unsecured line of credit, okay? Let's say we do that and we get 5K unsecured line of credit. All right. Let's say the interest rate is 10%. All right. All you do, you take 5 grand, times that by 10%, whatever that number is, divide it by 365 days. That's how much interest you'll pay on a daily basis, okay? Which is going to boil down to about $1.50 a day, all right? The way we overcome that cost of borrowing money to pay a debt is by means of a chunk, okay? Our chunk payment, our chunk amount, that word is referring to our cash flow on a yearly basis, okay? So let's do the math. 500 times 12, that's 6 grand. But if my line of credit is only 5, I can't make a $6,000 chunk. So what do? Well, divide that number by 2, you get 3,000. So you're gonna make a $3,000 chunk month 1. So right off the bat, I'm ahead of this guy because he has to wait 2 months before he even starts on the debts. Meanwhile, I just created 5 grand. This is my emergency fund, 5K. And I'll explain how over the term, right? So we've got this 5K line of credit. We're going to strip 3 grand out. 212 is going to go towards the monthly payment. The other 2,787.58 cents is going to be an extra principal payment towards that debt. We're starting at 10 grand. 10 minus 3, you're at 7 grand and some change. Correct? Sure. Now, how long is it going to take you to zero out the line of credit conservatively if you just went off the cash flow? 500 times 6, 3,000. So 6 months, right? So 6 months from now, we'll make another chunk payment of 3 grand, right? So now we're looking at 3 grand, 3 grand, that's 6, plus the 4, 5 months of 212, 212, 212, 212. Yes? So now we're 10 minus 6, that's 4 and some change. We're left with about 3 grand and some change. After that second chunk of 3,000, what's going to happen? Another 6 months go by, right? 212, 212, 212, 212. By month 12 or 11, we make our final chunk. The chunk is going to be less than 3,000 because the balance of the loan itself is less than 3,000. Okay? The remainder balance is going to be just under 2 grand, right? So month 11 or 12, we make our final chunk. Car is paid off in 1 year, my friend. I save $2,203.40 on interest. Okay. It'll take me 1 month, just one, to zero out the line of credit. How was that, Denzel? Well, my cash flow went up $212, did it not? So now my cash flow is $700 a month. My income's the same, $2,500. Okay. My expenses are now down $212, so $1,800, $1,700 something, right? And if my last chunk was less than 2 grand, I just dump my income, whatever that was for that specific month, just dump the 2 grand in, right? You've got all this cash flow sitting in your checking account. Mind you, you've got cash flow throughout the year of doing this. Because when you're on the velocity banking side, you never lose your cash flow in the process of paying off debt. Whereas on the other side, even though we still paid off the loan at a fairly reasonable time, 1 year and 6 months, all those $500, right? 500 times 1 year and 6 months, all that money is gone. So when you paid that off, what are you left with? Now you just have a cash flow of $712 monthly, right? Your cash flow went up too. The same amount over here. Same amount. But you only have this 700. You don't have that other 6 grand. Whereas we on the other side, we paid off the car in a year. So paid it off before this guy. Using the same income, same numbers, right? I'm 6 months ahead. No, 4 months ahead, right, of this person. No, actually I'm 6 months ahead, man, because of the 2 months, the emergency fund for the rainy day. Here comes the rain again, right? And we're 1 year, 8 months over here, 1 year over here. So 6 months beat that guy because he was worried about the rainy day. Meanwhile, I had my rainy day fund right here. Mind you, I only took out 3. Each and every month, I'm dumping my income of $2,500. Where's my risk? None at all, right? If something goes down, the first month, let's say the first month I get fired, right? I took out 3 grand, made a chunk payment towards the personal loan, and I made my $2,500 for the month, and then I got fired. I dumped the 25 in the line of credit. Balance is probably at, let's see, it's gonna be at like just a remainder balance of about 500 and some change. So I've got about 4,500 of available credit to pay my expenses, buys me time to go ahead and find another job, right? I've got this space, got about, 2 months of expenses. Whereas if I did this, right? Let's say right after they got their emergency fund of 1K and they stuff $500 month 3 towards a debt and they get fired. That's their rainy day. They only have $1,000. They have to spend $2,000 in expenses. What do? Now you're in a bind. You know what most people do? They borrow money. Why? Right? They don't borrow this type of money, line of credit. They borrow that type of money, loans, because they're misinformed, uneducated. Okay? So that's your issue there. But let's keep going. Let's keep going down the time. Let's break this down. Let's really break it down. Okay? So we did velocity banking over here. Paid off the car in 1 year. Let's say our next debt is a car note of 15 grand. Okay? At 8%. Let's just say. All right? Our new chunk amount, since our cash flow is $712 a month, times that by 12, you're going to get 8,000 and some change. By that time, what can I do? I can increase this line of credit to 10K, can I not? Sure I can. Because technically, didn't I use about 8,000 from the line of credit? I took 3, and then I took 2. Used about 8 grand and some change on a line of credit that's only about 5. So I should have no issue increasing my line of credit to 10. So I get a $10,000 line of credit. All right. Then my new chunk amount is going to be $4,274.52. Conservatively. Do the math. Let's say your car payment's like $350 a month. Right? 4, 8, 12. 1 year, 3 chunks. 6 months apart. 1 month, 4K. 6 months out, 4K. The last 6 months, that month 12, 4K. 4, 8, 12. Then you got to add 350 throughout those 8 months. My friend, I'll pay off that car of 15 grand in 1 year. Whereas if we did the same thing over here, just paying an extra 7, 12, 42, Granted, this is if no rainy days go down. This is if, nothing bad happens, right? 712 every single month. That'll take you about a year and 6 months to pay off. So you're looking at 2 years. You're looking at 3 years to pay off a $10,000 personal loan and a $15,000 car note. That's still not bad, right? That's okay, but I feel like I'm a little over leveraged here. I'm risking all my cash to pay off debt, whereas I could have been using the bank's money, paying nothing in interest, very minimal, saving thousands, hundreds of dollars more in interest, never losing my cash flow in the process. And to make it even better, I pay off both debts in 2 years, or as opposed to 3 over here, right? So I hope that is really clear for you. I hope you come over from the dark side. Okay, you leave the dark side and you come over to, wonderful land where we pay off debts smoothly, practical. Don't have to sell all my stuff. Even if I did sell all my stuff, even if I did go the minimalist route using velocity banking, dude, I'll shave 6 months off that. So I'll have all my debts paid off, or just those 2 in a year and a half. Okay? So this concept is great for people who are frugal, minimalist, cut back, sell all your stuff, don't go out. This is great for you. This is great, right? Because even if something did go down, you have all this cushion. You have all this cushion. Over here, your only cushion is 1K, right? Because according to the baby steps, you have to get the 1K first, however long that takes. For some people, you're going to have to sell stuff and get rid of stuff just to get to the 1K. Now you start paying debts. It takes you 3, 4, 5, 7 years to pay off all the debts or whatever, right? Then the next step is to start building your savings, where you get to about 3 to 6 months of expenses as your emergency fund. And then you're on to baby step 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Whereas I could have done all baby steps in one shot. I could have done them all together, right? Got my emergency fund. I'm paying debts. I'm increasing cash flow. I'm lowering expenses. I'm building my credit score, right? Technically, this is an investment, right? Instead of saving 15%, like the baby step says, I could be applying all that 15% of savings on this side in the emergency fund and redirecting it all here in the velocity banking method to pay off debts, right? And I will get results much faster. I cut off interest costs, right, a lot faster, which also increases cash flow, right? Cuts my timeline down dramatically, right? So if I'm saving 9% over here, cutting off 8% on the car, that's like 15%, right? And I keep all my cash flow. I have this big room, cushion, space, anything goes down. I am safe, secure, on my way to building wealth and leaving a legacy behind for my family. So I hope that helps you guys a lot. Makes it very clear as to why you should consider velocity banking into your toolbox, add it to your arsenal and move forward. So thank you guys. Have a great day and see you tomorrow. We're going to be going over some more real scenarios that we can get this thing going, so we can get away from, this old school method, right? Hey man, I'm old school too, right? But I just do numbers. That's it. That's all I want to do is do the math. That's it. All right. So have a good day.